Well, how you doing, everybody? Today we're taking a quick look at... Directed by Matt Shagman, starring Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Eben Moss-Bachrach. This takes place on an alternate version of Earth, number 838 for those of you keeping score, in a retro-futuristic 1960s. The Fantastic Four are heroes who have saved the world countless times, and they are about to face their biggest challenge yet: parenthood. Oh, and also the impending destruction of the Earth. The mysterious Silver Surfer shows up and informs them Galactis has an upcoming launch appointment and the Earth is the main course. And Galactis may prove to be more than even the Fantastic Four can handle. I've been looking forward to this one for quite some time, and now that it's finally here, I really liked it. I believe it is officially the first movie of Phase 6 of the MCU, for those of you who still care about that thing, and it's the best movie they've done in a while. And I, for one, am glad the DCU and the MCU are giving us good stuff. I do not care one bit for any of that tribalism bullshit. I want both to be good. First Steps is easily the best Fantastic Four movie, although I will admit that is not exactly a high bar. The Roger Corman movie was fun, but very low quality. The Tim Story movies, they were okay. They're not great, but I don't hate them. And the Josh Trank movie just plain sucked. And speaking of Roger Corman, the stars of that Fantastic Four movie all have cameos in this one, which is kind of cool. I somehow was not aware of that in advance, so now I need to go back and watch the movie and see if I can spot them. Much like James Gunn's Superman, I'm glad they did not waste too much time with an origin story. This is the 5th movie with these characters. Even casual fans by now have at least a basic understanding of who they are, I'm sure. And if you don't, at the start of the movie, the Earth 838 version of The Ed Sullivan Show basically gives us the Cliff's Notes version of their story, and that's enough. Several of the villains in their rogues gallery are at least name-dropped, if not seen on screen. Dr. Doom is never mentioned by name, but in this movie's version of the United Nations, there is a seat for Latveria, which is always empty, but it would suggest he's around somewhere. The one guy we do see is the Mole Man, who is played by Paul Walter Hauser in a very fun role. And I do like that they established the Fantastic Four have saved the world countless times from all these different supervillains. It really adds to the tension with Galactus. It's the first time they are faced with a problem that they might not be able to solve, and that rightly scares them. It scares everyone. We got some nice little touches from the comics, like the Fantastic Car and Herbie, their robot assistant, who was done with practical effects and looks great. And I'm glad we got the classic look for Galactus instead of that big-ass cloud we got in Rise of the Silver Surfer. Sure, it's a little corny, but he's a 30-foot-tall planet-devouring alien, and he's played by Ralph Ineson. He's still intimidating. And I also like how Galactus isn't necessarily evil. He is not doing any of this out of malice. He feeds on planets because he has to. And more than anything, I appreciate how this movie treats the Fantastic Four like a family, because that's what they're supposed to be. This is especially clear with the interactions between Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm. Even if they are not related by blood, they are very much brothers. And when Sue and Reed's son Franklin is born, they are super excited to be the best uncles ever. But about Franklin, oh boy. This movie relies very heavily on visual effects, like when the Fantastic Four are using their powers, or basically any time the Thing or the Silver Surfer are on screen. And for the most part, all of the computer-generated effects are very well done. But from the moment little Franklin pops out of the womb, ooh, he does not look good. And I find it fascinating that as far as CGI effects have come, and with everything you can do with computer-generated graphics nowadays, they still cannot make a good CGI baby. Why is that? I would love to talk to a visual effects expert about that, because there has to be a reason. I thought the cast was excellent, some very convincing American accents all around. We got Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, or Mr. Fantastic, and I love how he is just a huge nerd. Whether he is teaching a class for children, or saving the world, or trying to just baby-proof the house, he is always doing the math, always thinking scientifically, just cannot turn it off. Vanessa Kirby is Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, who has a career as a diplomat when she's not out superheroing, and she is very protective of her family, especially little Franklin, as you might expect. I'm sure you've all heard those urban legends about mothers who suddenly gain superhuman strength and can lift a car if their baby is in danger. Well, imagine if that mother has superpowers. I wouldn't get in her way. And indeed, there is a moment near the end of the movie where Sue flips the switch and just goes into fuck it mode, and it is glorious. Joseph Quinn is Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, and appropriately, he is a bit of a hothead. But I do appreciate that even though he's a bit reckless, he is not stupid. He occasionally does stupid things, but that's not the same thing. He actually has intelligence, and sometimes he uses it. Sometimes the intelligence takes a back seat. Ebon Moss-Bachrach was great as the Thing. Of course, he doesn't appear on camera very much, he's mostly doing mocap, but he was a lot of fun. And I love how the Thing somehow still has to shave, even though he's a giant rock monster. He's got this handheld grinder that he uses for it. That was a nice touch. The Thing even has a beard at one point in the movie, and I know that's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I overheard some people talking as I left the theater, and they were not having bearded Thing, but sue me, I thought it worked. There's a very good running gag about how he has to keep telling people he doesn't actually say it's clobberin' time. No, that's just from the cartoon, because somehow the old Hanna-Barbera cartoon still exists in this universe. And it seemed like they kinda planted the seeds for a romance between him and Natasha Lyonne's character, but they didn't do a whole lot with it, and honestly, I wanted more. And we got Julia Garner as a female Silver Surfer, and I really liked what they did with this character. She has some very good interactions with Johnny Storm in particular. And the Surfer's motivations for working with Galactis are much better than they were in Rise of the Silver Surfer. Again, I know that's not a high bar, but it's true. And like Galactis, her motivations do not involve malice. She is technically one of the villains of the movie, but she's not actually evil. And is it me, or did they lower her voice a bit compared to the trailer? It sounded different to me. It sounded fine, it was just different. I wonder why they made that choice. Overall, really liked the movie. A fantastic entry in the MCU, you might say. And it's about time we had a good Fantastic Four movie. It is absolutely worth seeing if you haven't already, and I look forward to seeing more of them in Avengers Doomsday. And yes, you should stick around at least for the mid-credits scene. The post-credits isn't really essential to the story, but the mid-credits scene does have something pretty shocking. And that's all I have to say about Fantastic Four First Steps. Till next time, take care.